Namaste and welcome. We're so glad you could join us today as we take a deep dive into some truly fascinating material.
Namaste.
You have shared some fascinating sources with us, and we are honored to embark on this deep dive with you.
Absolutely.
Today, our focus, as you know, is on the revered Sri Varadendra Theertharu,
Yes.
a significant saint in the Madhwar tradition, a prominent school of Hindu philosophy.
Yes.
His period, we understand from your sources, was from 1761 to 1785.
Correct.
We have excerpts from a website dedicated to Madhwa Seva
Right.
and an article from madhwamrutha.org before us.
Yes.
Our mission in this deep dive is to really extract the most important insights about this great guru,
Okay.
highlighting his valuable contributions and the profound respect that he garnered during his lifetime and continuing even now.
Yes. Very interesting.
Okay, so let's unpack this remarkable life.
Absolutely.
I think what's really fascinating is how his early life really kind of sets the stage for this remarkable spiritual journey.
Yeah. His Purvashrama name,
Yes.
his name before he took sannyasa.
Right. Is Balaramakariyaru.
Right.
He was born into the distinguished family of Sri Venugopalacharya,
Okay.
belonging to the Shastika Bigamudra Manitana.
Now here's where it becomes truly remarkable.
Yes.
All three sons of Sri Venugopalacharya eventually embraced the sannyasa ashrama within the Sri Raghavendra Mutt Parampar.
Amazing.
Purushottamakaryaru, who became Sri Vasudendra Theertharu.
Yes.
Then Balaramakariyaru himself became Sri Varadendra Theertharu. And finally Lakshmanarayanacharyara, who became Sri Ruvanendra Theertharu.
Wow.
It makes you wonder about the spiritual atmosphere in that home, doesn't it?
It truly does, and it speaks volumes about the deep spiritual environment of their family.
Yes.
And perhaps the broader societal inclinations of that era.
Yes, very interesting.
If we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
it really highlights the strength and the continuity of the Sri Raghavendra Mutt Parampar.
Yes, absolutely.
Sri Varadendra Theertharu's ashrama guru,
Yes.
his spiritual teacher who initiated him into sannyasa was Varadendra Theertharu.
And his ashrama shisha,
Yeah.
his disciple, was Sri Bhuvanendra Theertharu,
Right.
further solidifying this important lineage.
Uh-huh.
And his Uttaradhikargalu,
Yes.
his chosen successor to the mutt, was Sri Theertharu Theertharu.
A very clear and strong spiritual succession.
Exactly.
Now, turning our attention to his scholarly prowess.
Yes.
The sources you've shared really emphasize his widespread reputation as a truly great scholar
Yes.
and a well-known victor in many important debates.
What aspects of his scholarly reputation particularly stand out to you?
I think the significant debate that he had with the Advaita Pandita Ramashastri in Pune,
Yes.
which at that time was under the control of the Peshwas,
Right.
that seems like it was a really pivotal moment in his life and work.
It certainly was a moment of great significance.
Hmm.
This scholarly contest in Pune held considerable importance in the intellectual landscape of the time.
Yes.
The sources tell us that Ramashastri challenged Sri Varadendra Theertharu to a vakyartha,
Okay.
essentially a very formal and rigorous scholarly debate.
On intricate points of scripture and philosophy,
Okay.
there was a clear condition attached to this debate.
Okay.
If Ramashastri was to be defeated,
Yes.
he would respectfully cede his own residence to the Swamiji.
Okay.
Conversely, if Sri Varadendra Theertharu were to be unsuccessful in the debate, he would relinquish all of his scholarly titles.
High stakes indeed.
Absolutely.
And as your sources very clearly point out, Sri Varadendra Theertharu, through his profound knowledge and sharp intellect,
Yes.
emerged victorious.
Indeed, and the outcome of this intellectual victory was quite significant, wasn't it?
It was.
Ramashastri, true to the condition he had set, respectfully ceded his residence to Sri Varadendra Theertharu.
Yes.
This very place subsequently became the Sri Varadendra Mutt in Pune,
Wow.
a lasting testament to his victory in upholding and establishing the Dvaita Siddhanta,
Right.
the dualistic school of philosophy,
Right.
in a city that was predominantly influenced by Advaita philosophy,
Right.
the non-dualistic school.
It's also important to note that Sri Jayamacharya, who later became known as Sri Dhirendra Theertharu,
Yes.
played a very crucial role in supporting Sri Varadendra Theertharu during this critical and challenging debate.
So it wasn't just a personal intellectual triumph for him,
Yes.
but it also had very lasting institutional consequences,
Absolutely.
really establishing a stronghold for his philosophical school in that region.
A very significant victory.
Now, moving beyond these significant intellectual victories,
Yes.
Sri Varadendra Theertharu also made very important contributions
Yeah.
to the mutt itself and into the broader society during his time.
Absolutely. The sources you've provided highlight an all-round development of the mutt during the period he was the head. He
Yes.
undertook extensive travels right across South India,
Yes.
and these travels would have undoubtedly helped in disseminating the teachings of the tradition
Right.
and in strengthening the presence and the influence of the mutt across a wider geographical area.
Yes.
What is also very noteworthy are the significant land grants that he received from various rulers of the time.
Yes, we have specific details about these grants here.
Okay.
So Maharaja, who was a Nayaka,
Yes.
a local ruler,
Right.
gave a budana,
Mm-hmm.
a donation of land in the year 1774.
Okay.
And other influential rulers like Veera Venkata Tirmalaraya and Balasath Jang Bahadur also granted the possession of Danapura Grama
Yeah.
to the Raya Mutt in the year 1769.
Okay.
These kinds of grants would have provided very crucial financial and material support
Absolutely.
for the ongoing activities and the maintenance of the mutt.
It shows the high level of respect and the considerable influence that Sri Varadendra Thatharu held with the rulers of that era.
Yes, absolutely.
If we consider this in the broader context,
Yeah.
it truly shows how spiritual leaders often played a very important role in the socio-political landscape of their time.
Now, another aspect that your sources really emphasize is Sri Varadendra Tirtharu's
Yes.
deep and significant support for Dasa Sahitya. It's mentioned in one of the sources that, and I quote, like Vyasa Sahitya,
Mm-hmm.
he gave scope for Dasa Sahitya also.
That's a very powerful statement, isn't it?
It is a very significant statement.
Yeah.
I think what's particularly fascinating here
Yes.
is his crucial role in really reviving and firmly establishing the Dasa Parampari,
Right.
the rich tradition of devotional singing and literature by the Haridasas,
Yes.
the devotees of Lord Vishnu,
Mm-hmm.
especially after the period of the great Sri Purandara Dasa.
Okay.
It was during his time that many other very great Haridasas flourished
Yes.
and made their significant contributions.
Mm-hmm.
The sources mention some very prominent contemporaries who were also Haridasas during his time.
Okay.
The renowned Sri Jagannatha Dasaru,
Mm-hmm.
Sri Pranesha Dasaru,
Yes.
Sri Vijaya Dasaru, and Sri Gopala Dasaru.
Right.
And it seems that Sri Varadendra Tirtharu shared a particularly close and supportive relationship
Yes.
with both Sri Jagannatha Dasaru and Sri Pranesha Dasaru.
Indeed, his support for these Haridasas was truly significant and played a vital role in the continuation and flourishing of this devotional tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Sri Jagannatha, who was himself a very learned scholar,
Yes.
actually studied under Sri Varadendra Tirtharu,
Okay.
and out of deep reverence and gratitude, composed the beautiful Varadendra Pankarathnama,
Yes.
which is a collection of 5 verses in praise of the Swamiji.
Beautiful.
Furthermore, the establishment of the Varadendra Haridasa Sahitya Mandala in Lingasugur,
Right.
an organization that continues to promote Haridasa literature even in our present times,
Yes.
really speaks volumes about his deep commitment to this important aspect of devotional expression.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's also mentioned that Sri Varadendra Tirtharu himself composed a work called Tantrasara in Canada,
Okay.
which demonstrates his own mastery over the language and the spirit of Dasa Sahitya.
That's truly remarkable.
It
A
is.
scholar of such high intellectual standing also being so deeply connected to and supportive of
Yes.
the more vernacular and devotional forms of literature.
That's-
Now let's delve into the very special bond that he shared with Pranesha Dasaru
Okay.
and the incredibly fascinating story of the Swapna Vrindavana.
This is indeed a particularly moving and unique aspect of his life.
Yes.
The sources describe a very close and deeply respectful relationship between these two great souls.
Right.
Sri Varadendra Tirtharu even stayed at Pranesha Dasaru's residence in Lingasugur
Okay.
during one of his spiritual journeys.
Right.
It was during this very stay that
Mhm.
Pranesha Dasaru composed the very beautiful and deeply devotional Devaranama Hindina Sukurmavanu.
Yes, that particular song beautifully reflects the profound reverence and devotion
Right.
that Pranesha Dasaru held for Sri Varadendra Tirtharu.
Mm.
And then we have this incredible story of the Swapna Vrindavana,
Yeah.
the Vrindavana that came about through a dream.
What's particularly interesting and quite extraordinary here is
Yeah.
how this all unfolded.
Right.
After Sri Varadendra Tirtharu entered Vrindavana,
Okay.
attained his final resting place in Pune, he appeared in a dream to his ashrama Shisha Sri Bhuvanendra Theertharu.
Wow.
in this very vivid dream.
Yes.
Sri Varadendra Theertharu instructed Sri Bhuvanendra Theertharu to install his Ruthika Vrindavana, a sacred memorial made of the holy mud from his original resting place
Okay.
in Lingasugar,
Yes.
specifically near a haystack that had been lovingly donated by none other than Sri Praneshadasaru.
And as the story goes, due to the Krishna River being flooded at that time,
Yes.
Sri Bhuvanendra Theertharu was unable to reach Lingasugar in time for the auspicious moment of installation.
Right.
So, in accordance with the divine instruction, Sri Praneshadasaru himself performed the Prathistaman,
Oh, wow.
the sacred installation ceremony,
Okay.
at the preordained time.
Exactly. And that is why the Vrindavana located in Lingasugar is popularly and affectionately known as the Swapna Vrindavana.
Right.
The Dream Vrindavana.
The Dream Vrindavana.
It is fascinating to note that the Mula Vrindavana, the original and primary resting place of Sri Varadendra Theertharu,
Yes.
is indeed in Pune next.
Right.
And adding another layer of spiritual significance.
Yes.
There's also a Ruthika Vrindavana of the great Sri Raghavendra Tirtha,
Wow.
situated right on top of Sri Varadendra Tirtha's Mula Vrindavana in Pune,
Okay.
with a sacred idol of Mukhya Prana Devaru,
Yes.
Lord Hanuman,
Right.
installed above them both.
A powerful symbol of the interconnectedness within the lineage.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of respect and harmonious relationships,
Yes.
your sources also mention the very cordial relationship and the mutual respect
Yes.
that existed between Sri Varadendra Theertharu and Sri Satyabodha Tirtha of the Uttaradi Mutt,
Right.
another very prominent mutt within the Madhwad tradition.
This really signifies the spirit of harmony and the deep mutual respect that prevailed between different mutts within the broader Madhwa tradition.
Absolutely.
It is important for us to remember that while firmly upholding their own philosophical tenets and traditions,
Yeah.
these great spiritual leaders also maintain very respectful and understanding relationships with each other.
And we also have a list here of other very notable contemporaries who lived during the same period.
Okay.
Sri Satyabodharo, Sri Dhirendraru, Vijayadasaru Gopaladasaru,
Yes.
Sri Jagannatha Tirtha,
Right.
also known as Sri Bhasya Depikacharya,
Right.
Sri Swaratha Tirtha, and Sri Vidyanda Tirtha of the Sri Vyasraj Mutt.
It truly speaks to the very vibrant intellectual and spiritual environment of that particular era.
It does.
The exchange of ideas and the deep mutual respect that existed among these great contemporaries
Yes.
would have undoubtedly enriched and further strengthened the Madhwa tradition in profound ways.
Finally, your sources also mention several beautiful stotras,
Yes.
hymns of praise that were composed in honor of Sri Varadendra Tirtharu.
These sacred stotras offer us a beautiful glimpse into the deep devotion and the profound reverence that he inspired
Yes.
in those who knew him and followed his teachings.
Absolutely.
We have the Sri Varadendra Gurustotram and the Sri Varadendra Karabalambana Stotram,
Yes.
both composed by the great Sri Guru Jagannatha, as well as the Sri Varadendra Stakam, the Sri Varadendra Vijaya by Sri Prasanna Srinivasa Dasaru,
Yes.
and of course the deeply heartfelt Devarnamas composed by Sri Pranesha Dasaru.
And now, with the utmost reverence in our hearts, let us recite the Dana Sloka
Please do.
for the revered Sri Varadendra Theertharu. Vari Vijaya Shilaya Varadaya Varatimam Varanijana Simaya Varademdraya Inama.
In the Kannada language.
So as we reach the conclusion of this deep dive,
Yes.
we can clearly see the truly impactful spiritual leadership of Sri Varadendra Tirtharu,
Absolutely.
his significant scholarly achievements.
Yes.
Most notably, his victory in the intellectual center of Pune,
Right.
his unwavering and crucial support for both the classical Vyasa Sahitya and the deeply devotional Dasa Sahitya traditions, and the unique and very moving story of his Swapna Vrindavana in Lingasugar. All of these aspects point towards a truly exceptional and highly revered spiritual leader within the Madhwa tradition.
Indeed. And if we reflect on this in a broader sense, his life truly serves as a powerful inspiration for all of us,
Yes.
demonstrating how exceptional intellectual prowess and a life of deep devotion
Right.
can beautifully and powerfully coexist.
As you reflect on the life and the profound work of Sri Varadendra Tirtharu,
Yes.
consider how such deep dedication to both knowledge and spiritual tradition continues to enrich our understanding
Absolutely.
and inspire us even in our present times.
Hmm.
Thank you so very much for sharing your insightful sources with us
Thank you.
and for joining us on this truly enlightening deep dive.
The pleasure was entirely mine.
Namaste.